Hey everyone. I was gonna say Monday afternoon, but it's not Monday afternoon, it'll be Tuesday afternoon. Happy Tuesday afternoon. Today we are gonna talk about getting control of the bad eating habits when you know better. And when you know better, you should do better, right? But yet we don't. And so this is something that I see very all the time in my office as women. I can tell them what to eat and they understand the whole, like, what makes them thrive. They feel good when they're eating the foods that they should be. But yeah, they say, come, it always seems to be at nighttime, come after dinner at 7 o'clock, and they find themselves opening up their fridges and their cupboards looking for that something sweet. So very common. It can also, for myself, actually, it's mid-afternoon. I always find that like 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I do not feel like eating vegetables. I want something that's like a carby, something. This was my bowl earlier today that had dark chocolate chips, banana chips, and almonds in them. And so that's the sort of thing, like, I want crunchy, salty, sweet come the afternoon. So it's all about, okay, what can we do to get a little bit more control over the bad eating habits at nighttime or in the afternoon, whenever it is. Maybe it happens throughout the whole day for you. You know that you know what to eat, but yet you can't stop yourself from eating, the cookies, the cakes, the sweets, the candies, and you keep going back. Okay, so my first tip is this should be so straightforward, but yet so many of us don't follow this rule. Don't have it in your bloody house. Okay, ladies? Like, come on. You're tempting fate when you have it inside the house, because you know that as soon as those cravings hit, you know where to go, you know where to find it, and it's right there on hand, right? So we tend to justify buying a lot of this stuff because it's stuff that we allow our children to eat, right? So if we have cookies or little treats for them, and we'll get some of this and some of this from the grocery store for the kids, right? And then, come those times, we find that we're the ones indulging in it as well. And so for both you and your kids, actually, take it out of the home, okay? I mean, come on. If the ice cream's there, I will eat it. And I tell my husband this because he'll come home with, and he knows that I like Haagen-Dazs. He knows that I won't eat the crap ice cream. But if he brings home the Haagen-Dazs, it doesn't matter if I don't feel like it, if I have no sugar cravings whatsoever, everything's ticking along fine. If I know it's in that freezer, I will go and I will eat it until it's gone. Okay, and I think that most of us can kind of agree to that if it's there, we eat it. So my advice is, when it comes to treats for yourself, keep that shit out of your house. Make it more, and this with your kids too, like, make it more of a let's go for a treat, right? So I always say, like, when I'm PMSing or if I'm having a hankering for some ice cream, it's like, load up the kids in the car, make it a big deal. We're going for a treat and we'll go have Dairy Queen or something. Because if it's all, big containers of it in the house, once again, we're just going to eat it. So make more of a deal out of it. And also, that goes for yourself too. So if you're just looking for something for yourself and you're really having a hankering for something sweet, then go out and buy it. Don't always have it stocked in your house. Go out, go buy yourself a nice piece of dark chocolate, sit back, relax, and enjoy it. All right? So that is my first tip, and that is huge. And because honestly, there's many times where I'll go down into my house and I get right pissed off at myself and my rules because I will want something sugary to eat, and there is nothing in my house, and I'm not willing to get in my car and go get it. So I don't end up having it, and the cravings will pass. So you do save yourself from not always going in and having that something sweet because it's just not there and it's too much of a pain to go get it. Okay? So second of all, and I can't, how could I ever do a podcast or a video post without mentioning stress? You guys all know, anyone that's been following me for a while, I always talk about stress and the effects of stress on the body. So stress will always drive sugar cravings up. Okay, so this is something that you can start to get in tune with your own body. So if your sugar cravings kind of do the ebb and flow, like mine do, listen to your body. Figure out when is it the times that you start to crave more of it. And I always find a correlation with, if I find that I've been craving carbohydrates more so than I usually do, and I'm not around my PMS time, then I always know, okay, it's my stress levels. And sure enough, if I really sit back and look at it, I'll say, oh yeah, my stress levels have been sky high for a good month now. No wonder I want to eat nothing but carbohydrates, right? Because sugar gives you that boost. It gives you an energy boost, number one, and it also gives you the whole flood of feel-good hormones. So it's like, when your body's stressed out, a little bit of that, endorphin release feels awesome. And you just want to give yourself that little, oh, I just feel so good, for even if it is momentarily, right? So lowering stress levels in general will help to reduce sugar cravings and salt cravings as well. So really pay attention to that. I'll always, like, if I'm cycling on and off with my adrenal supplements that I take, I always know that if I start to crave more sugar, then I'll start to take the supplements, or I'll double up on my dosage for a week. And always works. Truly, it always works for me when it's stress, right? You lower the stress, the sugar cravings go away. So, and of course, there's other ways, if it's just a general, you think that generally you're eating because you're generally stressed, then of course you need to take a deeper look at your life and start to incorporate more de-stressing activities like being in nature, walking, yoga, that kind of thing, group, community, that kind of stuff that could help you to lower stress levels. Okay, so number 2 is deal with your stress. Okay, so number 3 is, and this one's tough, way easier said than done, but don't beat yourself up when you do eat the shitty food. Okay, nothing's going to drive you to eat more shitty food than beating yourself up about eating it. And this is, like I said, way easier said than done. It's a very challenging thing to not sit there and feel guilty about having those indulgences when you're working hard at losing weight or getting in shape and you're putting all this effort in, and then you don't have any control over eating all this sugary food. It's very challenging not to sit there and like beat up on yourself, right? So, sorry, I forgot to turn my phone ringer off. Oh, such an amateur I am. Anyways, so yeah, don't beat yourself up. Don't shame eat. Don't do the, oh, well, I've eaten a chocolate cake today. I might as well screw the diet for the rest of the day. There's no point in staying healthy. Forget it. Burn that fucking wagon once and for all. Don't be hopping on and off any wagons anymore. You're always working towards eating well, feeding your body good, nutritious food. When you're having those cravings, I always say, like, sit down. Don't go hide somewhere, or don't go, open up that cookie bag and just start shoveling mindlessly into your mouth. Mm-hmm. If you're going to do it, sorry, I'm going to have to turn my sound off. There we go. I did it. Okay. Don't be mindlessly like just shoving food in your mouth. If you're going to have a treat, I want you to honestly sit down with that treat in your hand, and I want you to slowly eat it and enjoy every last second of it. When we just do this, what are we numbing? What void are we trying to fill? That's instantly what I think of when people eat that way, or especially with sugar. What are we trying to stuff down? Because that's what it's doing. Truly, you're stuffing those emotions down. You get the sugar in as fast as you can. It's like the alcoholic that needs to get the drink in as fast as he can so he can quit shaking and feel shitty. Same goes for sugar. We're getting a massive endorphin release, other feel-good chemical hormones coming down, flooding us, making us feel good as quickly as possible. Okay? And it works the same way as drugs do too. The more you eat sugar, the less effect it's going to have. So you need more to have that effect that you used to get, if that makes sense. So it's like the alcoholic. Once I'm going to just compare it, because addiction's addiction. Alcohol or drugs, it's like that first hit of heroin or hit of cocaine feels absolutely amazing. And then, a couple months in, a couple years down the road, whatever it is, that same amount is not going to get you high anymore. You need, 10 times the amount. Same with sugar. So it is important to it is a good idea even to do like a sugar detox to resensitize the taste buds. So that when you eat some sugar, it's super sweet, okay? Like you want to be able to, like I can't even eat an apple now without thinking it's too sweet. I can barely get through an apple. And I never thought I would ever say this, and it's honest to God true, is that an apple is usually too sweet for me on most days, okay? So that's what we want. That's kind of what, the less you have of sugar, the more satisfying it's going to be because it's going to taste so super sweet to you. It's like when people go switch from milk chocolate to dark chocolate, they're like, oh, but that's not as much fun, dark chocolate, as milk chocolate. And I was like, well, it's in it, you have to adjust to the taste, but soon that's going to seem sweet to you. Okay, so give that a try. Don't beat yourself up. Don't shame eat. Don't feel guilty. If you can, don't feel guilty about it. I always say too, if you find that you're really wanting to indulge in a lot of sugar, then while you're sitting there eating it, just sit there and be mindful of how it is that you're feeling. Are you feeling sad? Are you feeling angry? Are you whatever it is? So you can at least put an emotion to it and you're not just numbingly just shoving your mouth with food, okay? Number 3, or no, that was number 3. I love this one. If you have a general issue with eating treats, okay, and we're talking like candies and cakes and cookies and like the little things that you're obviously not going to be eating for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I hope, then I always say if you have troubles cutting back on that, every single day, tell yourself that you can have a treat, okay? Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Eat clean, eat lower carbohydrates, so that your sugar intake for those meals is low, right? So carbohydrates converts to sugar in the body. So keep your, breakfast, lunch, and dinner nice, clean, low carb, paleo-based meals, so that every single day, if need be, and it's all about like, this is the whole allow yourself to do it, and you may not actually want to do it as often. Okay, it's like that. It's the whole mind thing. We want what we can't have. So if you tell yourself every day, I can have a treat, then suddenly it's like, oh, I've seen women just seriously, they're like, oh, really? I can have a treat every day? And then, yes. For sure make it like, if you can, gluten-free, dairy-free. Like I always say, go have some coconut ice cream. I had one girl that I told her to, have coconut ice cream every day if she wanted. And she was beside herself. She was a sugar addict, and she just needed to hear that. She could stay clean, no problem, breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, but she just wanted that little something every day. She kept all of her weight loss off, and this is everybody's unique, but she kept all of her weight loss off, and I've seen this happen numerous times where, it doesn't impede on the weight loss efforts to have a little something every day, okay? So if it's, maybe a gluten-free cookie, or I always say sit down at the end of the night with your cup of tea, because this is when women want it. Have a nice cup of tea, herbal tea, with a piece of dark chocolate. And I understand a lot of people will say, well, I'll eat the whole bar, Karen. And I'll say, okay, well then buy a smaller bar. It's that simple. And buy one at a time. Don't buy 2 small bars, buy 1. So that kind of thing, or space them out somehow. But yeah, I think that if you can stay clean and you let go of the guilt around it, once again, then I think having a small treat every day, if that's what's going to help you to stay on track and eating well and eating all those nutritious foods, then do it. Okay? And honest to God, what usually starts to happen is that because that pressure is off, you just won't be reaching for it as often, and it'll get, smaller and smaller and things like that. And I see this happen all the time. So trust me on it. Okay. So try that. Number 5 is, if this is something that, if 1 to 4 doesn't help and you're still going and you're still eating far too much of the sugar treats, doesn't matter what you do, what anyone says, or how well you exercise or how well you're following during the day, you're still over consuming the sugary stuff or the salty, like chips and the high fat, the bad fats. They say the worst, it's been the worst mixture that ever came into North America was high fat, high sugar, highly palatable foods, right? So it just is like fireworks in the brain, and the feel-good centers of the brain. It's like, woohoo! Is that little mixture. And if you look around, most foods nowadays, that's what they contain. They'll contain the high fats, And each one of those things by themselves is actually not that exciting. Like, who wants to take a spoon of sugar? Nobody. But frick, mix it with some butter and some other highly palatable foods, and we got ourselves a perfect storm, basically, for overeating, right? And they do this on purpose to us, of course, right? I'm sure everybody knows that. But yeah, so if you've done all this and you are still having problems, this is when I always say, quit looking to the food to be the answer. Quit looking to the diet to be the next thing that you're going to do to try and stop this. And that's very common. So women will think that it's just the fact that they haven't found the right diet to go on that's going to cure them of all their food addictions. That will never ever happen. I'll tell you that right now. You can do every diet in the world, but if you haven't dealt with what's really going on, it doesn't matter what you're eating. Okay, so this is all about getting to the root of the problem. In most cases, unfortunately, yes, it stems from childhood. There usually tends to be something that has happened in childhood that has affected you basically for the rest of your life, and it's something that's unresolved that needs to be resolved in order to get over the root of the problem of overeating sugar. Like I said, it's no different than any other addiction out there, whether it be to alcohol, drugs, sex, gambling, whatever, all those. There's a bazillion addictions out there. But you get my point that you have to get to the root of the problem. You can't just say, okay, hey, quit eating sugar. It's just not that easy. And I know that nobody wants to hear that. You're all probably just rolling your eyes going, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do any self-help bullshit. But then you're going to just know that you're going to keep going the way you're going. So I always say, think of yourself down the future. What if you keep going down the way you are right now? Where are you going to be in a year? Where are you going to be in 2 years after trying that many more diets and still failing and still not losing weight and getting control of your eating habits? Would you not rather just start now so that in 2-3 years, however long, that you can look back and say, oh my God, thank God I went and finally dealt with my shit. Okay, so getting to the root problem, it doesn't always have to be, trauma in the childhood or something that happened as we grew up. A lot of it is limiting belief stuff that we believe about ourselves. But it can also be, honestly, it can be boredom. The root cause can be boredom. If you're bored in your life, if you don't have a lot of things that are bringing you joy, these are all things that will drive you to eat, drink, once again, any addiction, right? Because you want the feel-good stuff. You want something to make you feel good because what's happening in your life isn't making you feel good. So it could be a bad marriage, or it could be that a bad job, or that you've been wanting to do something that you're not living for yourself anymore. Women, we tend to, pretty much give up our lives for a good 20 years, maybe not that long, but especially when our kids are young into kindergarten, we kind of give ourselves and who we are over to them. Right? And so a lot of women, as their kids start to get older, they start to say, okay, now what about me? And that can be a hard transition, but it's one of the reasons that women will overeat and be addicted to sugar is because they're not paying attention to what it is that they need now for themselves. Okay, so I'm going to leave you guys with that. Feel free to comment below. I'll always answer the comments. If you have any more questions, please comment below or send, if it's private, Karen at KarenMartel.com. Can't get easier than that. I always offer a free 20-minute discovery session if you're interested in booking an appointment with me. That 20-minute discussion is just you and I getting to meet. It's done over the phone. It's for you, a chance for you to tell me about your major health concerns right now, and I will share with you if I'm able to help or not, or who I think that could help you. So that's no strings attached, 20-minute discovery session. Today, if you look below this video podcast, I keep calling it a podcast. It's because I've been listening to a lot of podcasts lately. In this video post, you'll see today's blog was about, I had a guest writer, Christina Garrett, write about the ketogenic diet, and there is a free giveaway in that for a 1 week keto meal plan, which is awesome. It's with my new meal planning program that I've just purchased. So I would love everybody to go take a look at it because it's so fantastic. And it's going to be part of my new program that's coming up, which I'm not going to tell anybody about yet. But yeah, so go get a little taste of what's coming. It's an awesome meal plan, great recipes. Even if you don't want to follow the keto diet, you guys, go and check it out because there's a ton of new recipes in it. Gives you shopping lists. It's fantastic. So I think that is it for today. Okay, everyone, take care.